me, you can just join the conversation. I apologize, but sometimes things go crazy, and that's okay. This is life. Let's continue. So I was talking on Facebook. I was talking on Instagram as well about the whole incident. You can go back and watch the entire thing on Instagram if you're now joining me and hearing me on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. We're now getting into the topic of being confident as an immigrant. When I thought about this topic, a couple things came up for me. Okay. Just a couple days ago, depending on which part of the Caribbean you're from, you would appreciate the World Championships for what they were. In St. Lucia, one of ours, she came in, I think that she didn't quite make the top three, but she did very well as Julian Alfred. Okay. Then there was this epic picture of Shakari Richardson plus the two Jamaicans, the two Jamaicans who were purported to be like they were in the front running, but you see them so happy for this African American or this other black person. You see them so happy for her, and I said to myself, it's so typical of us here in the Caribbean. Hey, Travon, can you hear me? I hope you can. Just let me know if you can. It's so typical of us here in the Caribbean, that ability to like be almost self-effacing and to not have the chip on the shoulder and to be happy for other people. I find that about Caribbean people and especially Caribbean immigrants, because you're dealing with other societies that are bigger than you, territories that are bigger, and also with bigger egos too. And the way that we react is something that I think that we can export. And so when I was thinking about the question that I posed today, which is, how can confidence serve you as an immigrant? I thought to myself, the first place to start is to look at what your transferable skills are. To answer that question, however, Instagram and everywhere else, to answer that question, you also need to figure out, what does my society need? During COVID, I realized, me being here in Canada, first world country, wherever you find yourself as an immigrant, it might be the same for you, maybe not, I don't know. But I think what my society needed at large was resilience. And coming from a smaller country that knows struggle and knows what it is to do much with little, and to know not to have all the creature comforts that being in a first world country has, definitely I had resilience to export. See what I'm saying? So you start there. What in the society that you're leaving behind can you now transfer into your new society to make a difference? And that brings up the questions, what does my society need? And what in my experience, my skills, my talents can I use to answer that problem? I know for me here, being in Canada, being an immigrant, I answer several questions. The question of confidence as an immigrant, the question of resilience, and being able as an immigrant coming from a place, I love to say that if you are a Caribbean immigrant, you have a supreme advantage. The advantage is you saw people like you succeeding. And when you come into like a country like this, like I'm in Canada, people are in the UK, wherever, and I even coach a lot of like cross Caribbean immigrants, people who move from one Caribbean country to the next for like professional jobs, executive jobs. You're still an immigrant. And the concerns are still the same in terms of, I am leaving one culture and being inserted at a certain level into another. How do you deal with that? What can you transfer? I apologize because, like, I have my whole slide presentation, but the thing is that I know my stuff, number one. And number two, Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube, I didn't connect the two computers just because I don't want the sound to mess up. So let's go with what is. And this is my biggest point today. What are your transferable skills from your old society to your new one? And there's something that happens that I've found. If you are an immigrant, you have to be confident to be open to making mistakes with your new society, open to being corrected, open to getting it wrong. I'll never forget, and I love to harp on this example, I guess because I am in the speaking space. And I'm pretty confident about being articulate and confident as a speaker, so I can afford to give those examples, right? I'll never forget like being in my first office job here, and I got the word what uh Okanagan. I got it. I said Okanagan for Okanagan in British Columbia, and I got laughed at the office. But what? I got laughed at, and I'm still teaching speaking with confidence, and I'm pretty sure number one, I got it right afterwards, and number two, I'm pretty sure and confident enough to know that I could teach my own colleagues a thing or two, not about the pronunciation of one word, but about the overall area of speaking with confidence. Like, look at your transferable skills. A lot of immigrants did not come. Okay, lots of people come without like professional skills, but a lot of us have come as professionals. A lot of us have come especially established, already established in our own societies. And then you come here where the concept of an immigrant needs to catch up with your experience. And so you have to walk the fine line between knowing who you are and being humble enough sometimes to start from the bottom. You can go on YouTube on my channel, Lisa M. Dublin. My entire speech is there that talks about my immigrant experience. Like, very humbling, but also showing the resilience and how far sometimes you have to come and you have to start for you to get to where you want to. So what are you transferring into your new society? What does your new checking for your preferred one? Okay, Ramona, tell me which one is your preferred one. I know like Instagram is at an angle, right? So I'm trying to just look at it as two cameras, look here and look here at the same time. We'll figure it out. But I apologize for the glitch today. I'll be on tomorrow because there's something I want to present to everybody and to invite like immigrants to come and be confident in a webinar. Would you like that? To find ways, even though you are established in your society, ways to increase your likelihood of winning, of succeeding, because that's why you left. I had a consult this weekend, I think. Yeah, I had a consult with a Caribbean immigrant who moved to the United States and was established back home, was already regarded in certain areas, and is now finding trouble in starting over and getting to that same level of respect and establishment that she had back home. And that is the story. Okay, LinkedIn is crisp. Thank you for that. And the angles are better. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's very true. There's like a setup for the Instagram that I will get into at some point. So if you are an immigrant, just take the confidence. You did stuff back home, and you're going to come to a place where, from all sides, it might say to you that, I don't know if you can do this. Oh my gosh, other people haven't done it before. But please know that you have transferable skills. Please know that in this world right now that is so big on equity, diversity, and inclusivity, your experience and your angle of seeing the world, if you are confident enough to let other people in and tell them, it can literally add to the conversation. So right now, I'm in a different space. So I have to tell you all, like, here's my big news that I passed my citizenship test. Yeah. I have to do a whole Basement Chronicles video on that because like that was like, I studied how much? I studied hours, and then I went in the morning. It was online. I did it. I got all right, as we say in St. Lucia. You know why when you get all right? And then I realized, wait a minute, like if you prepare for something, you are going to make it. That's the other thing. Like if you prepare for something, you're going to make it. Like you're going to make it. So prepare and take that confidence that you're going to do well. So I learned that lesson from passing the citizenship test. So on to other things. But the space that I'm in and coming out even of that experience of like interfacing with the material for the citizenship test, I was like, What contribution do I want to make to my new country? I'm a St. Lucian, a Caribbean national, an Afro Caribbean woman, a woman of color, a dark skinned woman, all of these things. Okay. I'm that kind of woman, an A type woman, a professional, an executive, all of these things come into a new space that sometimes tries to define me. But I've got examples of people before me doing great things. Thank you for the congratulations, right? How do I want to make a contribution to my new environment? And part of that contribution for me, it comes from the confidence to realize my voice matters, my experience matters. I can make a difference if I speak up and get myself into places. Another thing that I had on the slide, moving away from the transferable skills. One of the things that helped me, and I'll probably end after this, one of the things that helped me when I first came to Canada and helped me to kind of approximate the same level of usefulness. That's the word. Oh my goodness, I love that word. Usefulness that I enjoyed in my previous society. It was volunteering. And in a sense, even though it did something for me, another box that it checked was that I am in a society where volunteerism is a big thing. Like people build their whole, especially the retirees, entire families I've met who have a tradition of volunteering in different spaces and all of that. I absolutely I got involved with so Jerry says, "Hi Jerry, how are you doing, my friend? Nice to see you. Good perspective. When you have confidence and can present yourself, it shocks people in your new country that you can." Yeah, it does. And you know what? And if you don't do it, you perpetuate the narrative of the silent immigrant, and we're not silent. We're not. We came with stuff that matters, but we have to get the confidence to do it. So you're going to attend my webinar if you're planning to migrate, if you have already migrated, and if you are trying to break free and break through in your new society. Just set your alarms for and watch out for it's going to come on this afternoon. I'm just getting everything ready. So it will be next week, Saturday, and it will be a free webinar for immigrants. It's called The Confident Immigrant, and it's for those people who are in different spaces and want to leverage who they were and are to benefit themselves and their new societies, because it's a whole different ball game for me. All right. And so, what was then, Jerry? You see, like you just made me come off my. I was talking about making the volunteerism. So when I came here, there's a society called PALS, and it's for something about the literary, like literacy society. I forgot, Adult Literacy Society. Okay, and I joined that. So it was like mixing the skills that I had already lecturing, being in the space of English literature, English, etc. I was a communications lecturer back home. It was leveraging that with wanting to find my footing in my new society. Find ways that you can volunteer in your new society. It's going to do wonders for you. You're going to meet people. It's going to help you to boost your self-esteem, even as you're getting knocks from everywhere else and having to start. You have that sense of of helping, of doing something of substance that for many professionals and executives who have to start again, that helps you to understand that, hey, even though in other areas, maybe economically, I'm starting from the bottom, I still have stuff that I can offer that's good and that can help people. That helps to make your experience meaningful and to move you from, just being the person who maybe might be depending on the government when you first start, to becoming somebody who's a contributing member of your society. So the question is, immigrants, how are you going to make a difference in your new world, in your new country, in your new job? What perspective, with that sense of, I have something to offer, what perspective can you give out there that is really going to help and make you useful where you are? Last thing that I want to say, y'all realize that I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been thinking about this a lot. Here's the other thing. Hey, Lucian Survivor, how are you? You're in the UK, right? If I recall, I have lots of immigrants on here. And The other thing that happens is there is some kind of cross pollination. You learn things in your new society that you then apply back home in your interactions back home. And that's why I say, like, part of this is really being open to new ways of doing things. So I think, like, one of the areas, to tell you the truth, that I have grown since coming here to Canada is in being able to deal with people differently. Anybody can, y'all are reading between the lines. Maybe I should just say it. Maybe I, yeah, just say it. Like, one of the books that helped me, I always say, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because when I came, I was just about the work. Just give me the work. Yep. You coming for carnival? And coming for carnival. Okay. That's back to St. Lucia for coming from carnival. Oh, okay. I see. I see. Okay. I learned that. I learned to be a little to handle people better, to build bridges even when there was conflict. I don't know that I had that before. Okay. I come from a society, tell me if I'm wrong, St. Lucians. I come from a society, especially Caribbean society. It can be a bit in your face. We're real. Not that this is not real, but I've learned the value of, like, conflict resolution and treating and having negotiations and relationships be a certain way, as opposed to just having conflict all the time or whatever, right? So that's one thing. Like, I've, even in doing work back home and dealing with my countrymen and women, I found, when I apologize, when I'm less, when, take the temperature down, even in those interactions, I have translated that from my Canadian experience to when I'm dealing with my own people. So, what are you? Is there any cross pollination? If you have moved, if you are in a different place, and when you go back home, do you find things different, and are you employing different skills that you learned in your new home? It happens to both. It's interesting. It's fascinating. I think for me now, the two things that are really fascinating me, are, like, the whole immigrant experience and how we dealt with COVID. That, for me, that was my ideological whatever. More on that later. But for me, these are the two things. So I want to end now, not to take up too much of your time on this Monday morning, but to tell you, if you are an immigrant or planning to be, or if you are an immigrant, that professional person, that executive who enjoyed a certain respect and quality of life back home, and now you find yourself, perhaps, I did a consult once with somebody who found herself, she came from an executive position in her native country and found herself on a relative's couch. Can you imagine that? She found herself on a relative's couch after giving up her job and coming to this new country to make it. And so, as far as she was concerned, she needs to start at the executive position. Okay? It does not work like that. There's a humility, there's a price to pay, but once you pay that price, what I think is that the society, whatever, wherever you find yourself, it opens doors for you. But don't think that you're just gonna come in and blaze a trail. No, I find culture is something that goes deep. Culture has roots and legs and seeds, and you have to kind of start somewhere to learn it and have an appreciation for it. You can't be in a different country and be like, I don't want to deal with these people. These people, no, be open and be confident enough to know that the new lessons you're learning, they're not going to override or make you lose yourself. No, have the confidence to be able to mix the thing together. Much like I had my little rant about people just taking stuff. No, mix it together with your thing and make something new. And you get to delight even the people that you were following in the first place. So, more on that tomorrow. If you are that immigrant who wants to approximate or make a contribution and wants to find your footing and your confidence and ways to leverage that confidence in your new space, I've got a free webinar for you. It's going to be next week. Look out for it. Everything's going out today. I'm just kind of getting it together. So thank you for listening. Sorry for the snafus, but you know what? I hope I gave you value anywho. That's part of it. And tomorrow we get it better. So I'll be on tomorrow. I'll put out the promo and I'll see you here. So be that confident immigrant and know that you have something to offer the world and a lot to learn as well. And both states of being, they are okay. All right. See you guys. Bye. Take care.